So, Kevin, to kick this one to you, just how impressive was this comeback win for the 49ers against the Rams?
I thought it spoke crazy volume about this team, their resilience, Jimmy Garoppolo as a whole, as a leader, as a quarterback. They were down 17 to nothing and they came back and they won this game in LA knowing that it's win or go home. They did the complete opposite of the Colts, man. They really came out there, they did what they needed to do, and they found a way to go out there and win in enemy territory. And I thought that that was, like I said, in huge part to Jimmy's great play. I know that he had two interceptions, but they found a way to get it done. Elijah Mitchell played great. Debo Samuel played great. Brandon Ayuk had an amazing game. So the team really rallied around Jimmy's play. And I know Jimmy's also playing with a torn ligament in that throwing hand. So that does take a toll on his ability to actually put the ball in a good spot. I did see him miss a couple of passes. But flipping it to the other side, Matthew Stafford's had a horrible couple of weeks, probably about a horrible month, realistically. He's turnover prone. They're not winning, excuse me, they're not closing out games offensively like they should have. San Francisco's pass rush was able to get to Stafford and sack him for 5 times. So you're looking at this and you're saying, well, Matt didn't really have much time to throw. Matt turned the ball over a shit ton. They weren't able to run the ball whatsoever. I mean, they averaged 2.4 yards per carry. So San Francisco's defense completely turned it up, and they just I don't know what the hell happened here. I'm just like kind of stuck that LA kind of really fell as much as they did, and I know they were winning games the last couple of weeks, but they were barely winning games outside of the Jacksonville blowout a few weeks back. So I really can't put my thumb on it. Kudos to San Francisco. LA looks a little suspect going into the playoffs, knowing that their defense has been playing relatively bad a couple weeks. So I'm really looking at this and I'm saying, I don't know if I want to play the 49ers right now because of how confident they are and because they've been winning when they need to win in order to get into the postseason. They finished the year at 10-7, which a lot of people did not see coming. I mean, myself included. Kyle and I were just talking about it before the episode had started. Dude, the NFC West has three playoff teams, and this is the hardest division in football. Three teams won double digit games. That's just absolutely crazy to me. And they're in the playoffs. So kudos to the NFC West for showing that they are a competitive and tough, you know, division in and of itself. Even the Seahawks going out there and spoiling the Cardinals seeding, that's huge too. They go out there and they win in Pete Carroll's probable last game as a coach in Seattle. But in regards to the 49ers Rams game, kudos to the 49ers for getting it done. They beat them earlier in the year in an embarrassing fashion. They come out here and they win in SoFi in overtime, and the 49ers going to the playoffs, bro.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin, I mean, thank God we actually got one of our picks right. You know, we've been kind of we've kind of been suspect on our picks here and there throughout the season, but at least we got this one right. And the one thing that I got to give San Francisco a lot of credit for is just being able to weather the storm early on, because it did not look good for San Francisco in the first half. You know, being down 17 nothing on the road in a must-win game to get into the playoffs is not ideal in any way, shape, or form. But they were able to rally around each other, and they were able to make a huge comeback in that second half. I mean, it wasn't just Jimmy G getting it done. I thought Debo Samuel had a phenomenal day as well. I mean, Debo Samuel is really kind of one of those Swiss Army types where he's such a threat out of the backfield whenever they utilize him there. He's one of the best wide receivers. He's probably one of the most underrated wide receivers in the NFL. And then they used him in the passing game on a jet sweep, and then he was able to throw a pretty nice ball to Jawan Jennings that tied the game up at 17. So just looking at the San Francisco 49ers, really that last drive in the fourth quarter, that was absolutely pivotal. They needed that one to stay alive in the playoff hunt. And you know, they came up with some big plays, specifically Jimmy G, because early on it did not look good on that drive. I think at one point it was like 4th and 18 early on in that drive in the fourth quarter towards the end of it. But they were able to get some plays together, get a touchdown to Jawan Jennings with about 15, 20 seconds left. They win the toss in overtime. They get the field goal to put it up to 27-24, and then the defense comes up huge. So all in all, I think San Francisco is really kind of coming into the playoffs on a hot streak here. They've been playing very well the last month, month and a half. I don't know how far they're going to be able to take it being in the playoffs, but I do think this is a team that is catching the attention of many in the NFC. And when you look at the Rams, this is a devastating loss for the Rams as far as their seeding goes, because had they played their cards right and won this game, I think they could have had the 2 seed if I don't have my seeds mixed up if they won this one. But with the loss that they had against the 49ers, they dropped down all the way to the 4. And going into the playoffs, having the 4 seed compared to possibly the 2, that's a worldwide difference. So I don't know if it's going to prove to be that big of a deal in the playoffs, because even though the Rams are a pretty solid team overall, I think they would have been a much more advantageous situation had they been the 2 seed compared to the 4. So the Rams are kind of in a precarious situation right now. They did not finish this season the way that they wanted to. And I think it could have a lasting impact because, for this team to make some noise in the playoffs as a 4 seed, they're going to have their work cut out for them. And they didn't help themselves by losing this game to the 49ers. But all in all, great game for the 49ers. They stay alive. They make it into the playoffs. And I think it's a well-deserved win. And, kudos to pretty much everybody on the 49ers staff and the players, the coaching staff. They got it done when they needed it to. So good on them.